I got a chance to play the LACHLANS Pickaxe Frenzy Cup early, and we actually did really good. We had 580 points on 200 ping. It was myself, Cypher, PK, and Hogman. So I decided to make an entire video giving you guys tips and tricks for the full tournament. Leave a thumbs up if this helps, because this is how we placed really well, along with getting a ton of elims. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's go!
Epic victory royale!
Look at LACHLANS clapping. Oh my god. Right off the bat, you guys can see that the zone is already moved in, and it actually moves in even quicker when you land. So don't jump out of the bus right away, because you will take damage until you're in the zone. When you drop down, you will notice that there is literally nothing to loot. You have 3 builds each, which is really good. You can always get more builds back. But when you land, one of the strategies we like to do is either find an area that is close quarters. Why, you may ask, is because if you run in a pack of 3, it makes it super easy to single out 1 or 2 people. And that means, as you can see here, we're going down, we see 1 person. We all jump that 1 person. You could trap them in with one of the 3 builds. They might impulse away, but you want to catch them on an angle. Now I'll get into the angling a little bit later, because that is how I get majority of my eliminations. But as you guys can see, we find 1 guy who's looting, which again, you really don't need to, but an easy point given to us right here. Now, I can't stress this enough, but you guys have to run in a pack. You guys are stronger in numbers, especially if you can get 1 person by themselves, and if you get first hit, that is actually huge. You can see we're challenging 1 guy, and I felt super confident regardless of having 40 HP, because I have 2 of my other teammates there. Another huge thing off spawn is just placing 1 build in front of them to throw off your enemy. If you get the first pickaxe, most likely you'll do fine. As you guys can see, even though we're on 200 ping, we trapped the guy, and now we're just hunting him down. One thing you definitely want to avoid is chasing 1 person down for too long, as you lose opportunities to get other points by eliminating other people. This is something that we learned on our second game. It's very important to use the impulse grenades in 3 ways. To either impulse yourself into the enemy, as I did on screen, and then separate the 2 enemies, and then I have an easy elim, along with the fact that now we are 2v1ing that other guy. But you can use an impulse to either scatter enemies that are chasing your friends, or you can actually use them to send an enemy backwards to you if you throw it ahead of them. As you guys can see here, I did down another person, and I started fighting a completely separate team. Cypher is now calming that he's going to take out the guy that I downed. So while I'm fighting this guy, I got a full health regen, and now I also took out that guy with more HP rather than going for a 50-50 pickaxe swing. Calming is super important in this, because you guys can outsmart or outplay people if you're in a tricky predicament. If you play the beginning of the game correctly, you should have a lot of loot along with 3 of your teammates. So what you want to do now is hunt for stragglers that are either solo or duo. This gives you a huge advantage as you guys outnumber them, and if you play properly and communicate, you guys can get easy elims. As you guys can see here, a lot of people decided to try to charge at us. You can see a bunch of enemies, but there's the 3 of us and only a select few of them, where it makes it super simple for us to just eliminate them. Now, if you want, you can use cans to do 10 damage. If you go to airdrops, you get peppers, which I advise highly. Peppers, you can cut off enemies super easy and get easy hits. I'll be talking about the 45-degree strat very soon. That is how I got most of my elims. But rips are really good just to either break the tension in a fight, or just to float at endgame, but we'll get to the endgame strats very shortly. As you guys can still see though, there are a lot of stragglers, and we are running around calming to help each other, saying who's 1 hit, who's 2 hits, who's whatever, just so we can get them easy points. Now this strategy is super helpful. I started doing this, and as you can see on screen, the 45-degree strat's amazing. You stand 45 degrees to the left or the right of your enemy, and this is going to be very, very simple to cut off them. These are 2 different enemies, and they're trying to either run away or attack me, and I'm by myself. My teammates are not near me, but I'm confident that I'll be able to take them out. This is because I'm hitting them way before they can hit me, because they're running ahead of me, but I get the first easy cheap hit in by running 45 degrees. Now this is a super good strat if you're 1v2ing, especially if they're kind of spread out. Now if they're both running at you, it will not work very well, because there's no way you can get 45 degrees on them and not get hit first. So as you guys can see, that is a very effective strategy, and I feel like a lot of people should be doing this, especially if you have multiple people. Standing right behind them will not do anything. It will not make you catch up to them. You have to try to predict on what their route's going to be and get that 1 side pickaxe. It is super helpful at endgame, and I cannot stress this enough. I run around freely at endgame without my team because they're double teaming people and I'm by myself. I don't advise to be by yourself. It's best to be with a team because the second you're on the side of someone, you can get an easy 1-hit or 2-hit elims because they're already running away from other people and don't have time to heal. 3v3 situations are a little bit rough. This is where you have to single out one enemy and then you and one other either go for the fight. As you can see, I waited and I decided to double team this one guy. Now, after we down one, your teammate that was solo backs off and now they are in shambles. They know they're down one enemy, so I impulse ahead and boom, easy down. This is a very good strat, especially when there is a 3v3. Those are very tough because it is a 50-50 shot that you guys will do well. I used an impulse right there to separate my teammate who has very little health from 3 enemies. And that is another reason, as I mentioned before, impulses are very, very helpful to save your teammates along with being an attack mechanism. This is a really easy way in order to get easy elims. So what you want to do is go to reboot camps and literally hide in bushes, in cones, and just get free elims. If you guys don't know, there's always going to be down 1 or 2 players and they're going for reboots early on or mid game. As you can see, it just became a complete massacre by this reboot as people thought that we were going to go down easy. We got a bunch of elims from all different teams and then we ended up camping here. As you guys can see here, we have some cones set up along with me being in a bush. Now we just wait here. We already have a good amount of elims, but we're just gonna wait here and wait for more people to show up.
What? Yeah, 3, 2, 1. What are you doing?
All right. Thirst and then get back in and get in cones, okay?
All right. He knows.
He just ran right by me.
Oh, Tony Stark. He's on my cone.
In my body.
Oh, Cypher!
Yo,
Cypher!
Oh, get
That was amazing! They're rebooting, they're rebooting!
20?
That was awesome.
20? On the purple chick?
40? Yeah, purple's low, purple's low.
Now let's break down endgame. So I have 1 HP here, not looking good. I'm down 1 teammate. One thing I did, which I wish I kind of did in brick or metal, I sat in a cone at endgame. A lot of people are not going to stand still and pickaxe a cone because there are 30 people still left. There is Storm Surge in this mode, so be sure to do some damage, at least in the beginning of the game. But as you guys can see, I'm fully emoting under this cone, getting full-blown health back. Placement points are key. You get so many points for placement, but you also need a good amount of elims as well. So here is what I'm doing. Everyone's running around, panicking, getting elimed, and I'm in a cone, Naruto running. Super effective, works really well. But if you use a brick cone or a metal cone, most likely at endgame, it's very hard to get into one of these at endgame, but it's super useful because people cannot break it and people cannot really just take the time and pickaxe this unless they really, really want you dead. Throughout the tournament, you will see stacked endgames and you will also see non-stacked. Depending on how aggressive you play and if you dominate the lobby, you'll have very decent end games where you can run around and still pickaxe people. This is one of our first few games where we had a good amount of elims, not too much, but we also had an end game that was fully stacked. As you guys can see, the zone is very small. It is not a moving zone. And I sat here, got rifted, and now I'm floating. I'm floating, so hopefully the people down below are eliminating each other. But my teammate Hogman started just throwing impulses down at the zone, and people ended up getting launched into the zone and dying where we got the points for that. So while I'm floating, getting placement points, Hogman's down there just slaying out. It's going to be very difficult to go for some pickaxes when there are about like 7 enemies around you. Now, other people tend to float as well. It's just a matter of time before you land, and there's really no way to get health unless you're getting these elims. This is a decently sized end game where we have 44 people with a good zone. This is where everyone runs around like a chicken with their head cut off. I find people that are trying to emote. These are people that I know that have less health than I do, and I single them out. They panic and they start running. Instead of sticking with their team, now my team is engaging on this one person who I know is super weak. One that I just hit and then I just start targeting. I noticed I hit the wrong person, and wearing the same skin is very, very useful, by the way, because you can't really calm on who is weak and who's not. but I know the person that I'm chasing and I just keep chasing them. One big thing and big mistake that I did in this tournament was I tunnel visioned an enemy that was already down. As you guys can see in this clip, I get impulsed into the zone, I impulse myself back in, and I have the downed enemy. And now I turn around and get mauled by about 3 different people from 3 different teams, and I go down. Never turn your back, especially towards the zone, because you never know how many people are chasing behind you. At this point, there's no way I could possibly get revived, and it's unfortunate. Here's the footage from our winning game where I just absolutely popped off at endgame. I almost died to impulse fall damage, but instead I decided to still W key people that I knew that were weak. I started doing the 45-degree roll where I just started bodying every single person I could possibly see. Knowing that that guy had his back turned to me and I even had 50 HP, he was taking out the person that I downed, so I was getting HP from that regardless. Even though I had someone come up behind me and it was a close call, I knew that it was still going to survive. But I'm chasing this guy because I know he's in shambles along with everyone else down there. If you take note to what everyone else is doing, you will get an understanding of if they're low or if they're not. It's a very simple thing, but here's the comms that me and my teammates are doing towards endgame. Even though one of us almost died, we still worked together and got them HP because 3 people are way better than 2 or 1. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this helps. Good luck in the tournament. I already have the skin and I think it's one of the best. So if you guys do buy the skin, use code Lochy. It is really cool and really awesome that he got it. And again, thank you, Lochy, for giving me the skin early. But I hope you guys enjoyed this rest of the video and I hope it helped.
Off my cone.
Nice, let's go.
He's dead.
All right, I'm gonna try to cut him off.
Yeet.
Cypher, you on my wrist?
Bye.
I can impulse him off. Impulsing him off. Bite me.
Let's go!
Oh, epic victory royale!
Look at Lachlan clapping. Oh my god.